Afternoon, good morning to esteemed fans. Wherever you might be watching me this very moment, of course, we are here to discuss very interesting issues of importance. Just as we learned of just about a few days ago, the First Lady of the Federal Republic of Nigeria launched National Ashebi, which, according to her, she believes that this will unite and reintegrate Nigerians' uh, ethnic nationalities, regardless of their diversity, their cultural differences, and ideological differences. The First Lady believes that with this launch of National Ashebi, which she believes will unify Nigerians, will unify the Igbos, the Yorubas, the Hausa, the Shekiris, the Kanures, you begin to ask, well, in the first place, we appreciate you as you join us. You can as well uh, participate in this discussion. It's a very important discussion wherever you might reside, in as much as either you are a Yoruba, Hausa, Isekere, or any part of the country, Ijo, Ibibio. Let's discuss. Let's discuss. This is moment to interact and share our views regarding the development, of course, happening now, and how can we, of course, solve the problem bedeviling the Nigerian states. Now, in her own initiative, the office of the president, the office of the first lady came up with the initiative that coming up with national Ashebi will solve the problem of Nigerian disunity, the acrimony, the sentiments, the ethnic and religious sentiments that have swept off the entire uh, fabric of our existence. Now you begin to ask, in the first place, we have to appreciate the First Lady for acknowledging that there is problem, for acknowledging that Nigeria is no longer united. That is the first acknowledgement. She acknowledged, she has seen, even under the watch of her husband, Ahmed Bola Tinubu, who happens to be the president, that Nigerians are more divided than ever before. You know, Nigerians were divided along ethnic, tribal sentiments, bigotry, and all that during Buhari's time and subsequent previous administration. But in this administration of Ahmed Bola Tinubu, Nigeria has further divided. The fabric of the unity of the existence of Nigeria has been fast eroded under the watch of Ahmed Bola Tinubu. Now, the wife of the president believes that with the national Ashebi, she can solve that problem that have defied the office of the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Now, in the first place, we've been able to, of course, acknowledge the fact that the First Lady understood that there is serious problem, there is serious disunity, there is serious dichotomy, of which in the recent past, she also has been accused of fueling or sponsoring attack, hate against the Igbos. Yes, when he was allegedly, of course, said to have made some inciting statement that the Igbos' property should be confiscated and, of course, should be just out of Lagos. Well, she believed now, okay, it is time to bind Nigerians, it is time to unite Nigerians, it is now right time for her to initiate the gospel of peace and unity. Of course, she may have seen, even during the 2023 elections, how Igbos and other Southerners was treated in Lagos. We have the franchise openly traditional institutions, government institutions, directly or indirectly, kept moved, supported the intimidation, the suppression, because they have the interest to protect. And of course, as such, uh, some persons might be intimidated to get what they need. And at the end of the day, it is time to preach peace. It is time to unite. And she believed in her own wisdom, or advised by her own, of course, advisors, that, okay, let us come with Ashebi, that we unite Nigeria, that we have the symbol of nationality. And she came and launched the Ashebi, National Ashebi for Nigerians, Unity. Now, the position of the Constitution has this to say. Before I dive into that, the state of the nation today demands wisdom, political consciousness, and willingness on the part of the political leaders to solve the problem. The problem is not insurmountable, but how committed, how sincere, where is that political will on the part of those who have become beneficiary of the flawed system to address this problem head on? Because they knew that they need to be honest and they need to be decisive. They need to be transparent in solving the problem. They knew the problem. Most of them contributed to the problem. Most of them are the majority of them are the problem Nigeria is facing today. They knew they are the problem. Why insecurity? Why hunger, starvations? Why in the midst of abundance, Nigerians are taking pleasures, eating from dustbin, finding it difficult to survive, to eat. I mean, eat, not embarking on projects or any research, any program, but to eat, to eat. Gone are the days that they say you are working from mouth to eat, from hand to mouth. This one, you don't even see it from the mouth, hand to mouth again for millions of Nigerians. As you join us, hit the like buttons as part of rule of engagement. You can also make your own contribution via the comments section. Let us discuss. Let's discuss. Let's interact. And see whether this is a mockery of the century, or is it for real? You mean with the states of the nation today coming down from independence, taking the memory lane, what transpired? Nigeria, in less than 6 months of 6 years of independence, plunged into the worst, most deadliest, bloody war, civil war between the Biafrans and Nigeria. Because prior to the war declared by Gowon and Nigeria, Ojukwu declared the sovereign state of Nigeria after he have consulted with the Eastern elders and, of course, uh, stakeholders. They decided to declare the sovereign state of Biafra since the United Nigeria wasn't working, because Nigerian existence, according to the constitution, is predicated on equity, fairness, and justice. Nigeria shall be an entity predicated on equity, justice, and fairness. So now, in the course of times, this justice, equity, fairness begin to erode, begin to fade away. that got to the point that it had been washed out by the flood of sentiments, religious bigotry, and tribal sentiments. So, if the Constitution recognizes that equity, fairness, and justice will be the pivot upon which the Nigerian existence will be predicated upon, will rest upon, then how suddenly do the First Lady come with such idea, haven't acknowledged that there is problem, there is systemic problem, there is fundamental problem, there is foundational problem that has not been addressed. As far as Nigerian existence is concerned, which needed to be confronted, which needed to be arrested, discussed by the stakeholders or the ethnic nationalities. But those political elders or leaders who have been benefiting from the failing system would not want such to be discussed. Whatever issues of such is being raised or concerns are being raised concerning discussing the continued existence of Nigeria and those problematic issues, you see them turning that down, frustrating it. Now, eventually, it has gotten to the point that an Igbo man is well convinced that he is being hated. He is not part of Nigeria today. It is very clear, whether you like it or not. Just make your investigation. An average Igbo man does not believe that he is a Nigerian, whether you like it or not. An average Hausa man, I don't mean Fulani man, an average Hausa man does not believe that he is a Nigerian. An average Yoruba man does not believe that he is Nigeria. Go and ask, make investigations. Everybody is complaining. Everybody feel marginalized, suppressed by the political class. Who only have common fronts, their political interests to be protected, whether they are from Igbo, whether they are from Yoruba or from Hausa or from Shekiri or from Ijo. What unites them is their common interest. They want to devour their spoil. They want to feed on their prey, which are the masses, innocent, defenseless masses of this country. Regardless of the fact that the incumbent president is a Yoruba man, they are the first people to shout a bimpami. What does that imply? That, of course, the elections are over. I will show Obi Pepe, I will show Igbo Pepe. Now, the Pepe they want to show Igbos is now very costly. It's no longer easy to come by. Going to buy pepper now, you have to plan and budget for it. The pepper they want to show the Igbos. And eventually, most of them are the first to shout a bimpami. What does that mean? What does that tell? What lesson do we learn from that? That these politicians have understudied Nigerian populations and have seen that the only way they will remain relevant and within the corridor of power is to continue to divide them. The same people who are shouting a bimpami was used, exploited during the election, perhaps to intimidate anyone with an Igbo face. Whether you are from Edo, you are from Ijo, once you are an Igbo man, you are all Igbos. To stop them from going to the pool to exercise their franchise. Today, they are the first to shout a bimpami because the change is gone. The money they shared, The cost money they receive has been expended. And ejego abụrụ aburu. But people say you don't use a cost money to succeed. A cost money is a cost money. It doesn't matter whether they runs in billions. There's dignity of labor. There is dignity. What if somebody gives you something out of his good will? Not to go and kill somebody, not to go and frustrate somebody, not to go and deny somebody what is due for him. If you're taking money to deny or deprive people or kill somebody or frustrate somebody or make somebody to cry or because he is defenseless, that such money on disment is a cost one. It's just a matter of time. If not now, it will be later or definitely. In the last day, the person will receive the reward. Kindly hit the like buttons as you join us. Now, what we are discussing here now is it a mockery? The same people who told us to pray for the good of Nigeria have never shown any sign of empathy for the Nigerians and the country, even in the worst economic woes that are befalling Nigeria. With due respect, the First Lady told Nigerians publicly that his husband is very rich. They don't need Nigerian money. That the money they have made in their lifetime, they can continue to use it until the fourth generation, the next 400 years. They have not expended it. And some people thought that that was the right word. But only to discover in the long run that it's just deceptive. Now, yes, of course, your husband is well to do, has everything he needs that life or money can afford. Quite sure, I don't doubt that. What are his priorities? Does he prioritize the welfare, the well-being of the Nigerian populace? If he do, he wouldn't have increased the salaries of the judiciary by 300%, knowing fully well there are other issues of importance bordering on the welfare and existence of Nigerians that should be prioritized in order to deliver dividends of democracy. And of course, the expectations of Nigerians was very high, but unfortunately that was dashed. For us, people like us, it wasn't a surprise, but I was surprised that some were surprised of what they are seeing today. It still baffles me. Why should they be surprised? Now, yes, you have the money that he can buy whatever money can buy, but what are his priorities? Does he have empathy or feel alongside the way people feel, the masses, the vulnerable masses who could not afford a meal? As Nigeria today, there are tens of millions of Nigerians who can't afford a meal. I mean, who can't afford Gary. I saw one man struggling to buy Gary. Gary, Gary is no longer cheap, sir. The small one within the time. If I have known, I would have bought it and show you people what I meant. In a very small nylon like this, small nylon, small leather like this, very small like this, they cost 200 naira. I can just put it in my hand when I dey eat garri, if now when I dey village or when I dey school, I go just put them for hand like this, chop. Finish am just like this, carry am for hand like this, 200 naira garri. And the person is looking very tired and weak. Now, if you are weak and tired, what will garri do for you? Not to talk of sugar or granite. Now, you are rich. It's one thing to be rich, and it's one thing to have empathy, to have human feelings, to be touched. That is compassion, your bowel of compassion. Now, apart from that, you went ahead and buy yacht. the expensive boat or whatever, canoe or ship. I think that was not enough. You could buy another jet. If you are prioritizing the welfare of Nigerians, you should have used the one available or use your personal one, which is, of course, good to go. Or give up the yacht so that you can procure the jet. For an alternative, there should be that sense of responsibility and commitment. But of course, he admitted that Nigerians were surprised that he eventually emerged as a president, which means they never voted for him, the majority of Nigerians. Yes, he acknowledged this before the public. And of course, it's within the public domain that he was surprised. Most Nigerians will be surprised that he is there. Not nevertheless that they never voted for him. But that is by the way. That is not what we are discussing this moment. I want you to to familiarize yourself with the realities, of course, Nigerians are passing through. You bought 160 million SUV cars for individuals, over 900 of them, or close to 1,000. The House of Rep and the Senate, they never ask questions. Even from the Labour Party, people were shouting Labour Party, people who took advantage of that to pave their way to represent the people. They never know, they are not there for the people. They are there for themselves, their opportunities. When they got the shot, of course, you know what happens. Nobody could stand and say, no, we are to prioritize the welfare of Nigerians first. Work to make sure that Nigerians feel the dividends of democracy. Spending such amount, borrowing to share among us, just as one person revealed that more than 80% of the annual budget is being looted, even at the National Assembly. Is it a joke of the century? Or is it for real? Now, with all this multifaceted, hagger-headed monsters, problems bedeviling Nigerians, let alone, needless to talk about insecurity. You know the state of insecurity today. That even the chief of army staff have come to say that if you don't address poverty, if you don't address unemployment, the fight against insurgency is just a waste of time. The fight against insecurity, you are just deceiving yourself. You are not telling yourself the truth. By implication, that is what he meant. He said, except Nigeria fights insecurity, poverty, unemployment, you can't succeed in the fight against insecurity. This is the chief of army staff. He have come in terms with the reality. He said, let's not continue to deceive ourselves. The political class, you understand, they have ruined the future, the existence of majority of Nigerians. You can't be voting money to buy arms, ammunitions, of course, without catering for even the combatant soldiers who were crying, lamenting, lavishing that even their ration, regulars, their money apportioned for their upkeep had been slashed. You saw most of them in social media, those who are bold enough to express themselves. Some were court-martialed, and of course, what the rest is history. But then they are able to express themselves. But that is the reality. In the current reality, you can't survive with such amounts, stipends that they've been paid. And you see an ordinary senator. What is ordinary senator? Ordinary councillor without school cert, because you are able to find yourself as a councillor, ward councillor. Under 2 years, the councillor will buy a car, not cars. We buy fleets of cars. We have building in a choice place. If you complete 4 years, then it means that the person will be a billionaire. Ordinary counselor will have something even a professor will not dream in throughout his 30, 35 years, active years in service. Soldiers will go and comb the bush. At the end of the day, they go with 50,000, as most of them claim, which have been confirmed. They say 60,000. What do you pay? What is 60,000? It's not even enough in these current realities for an individual to survive, let alone those who have families. Just as one of them said, he had been, of course, in the bush combating insurgency in the north, and when he eventually went to go and visit after 1 year or so, annual leave, he wanted to go and see, unite with his families, but when he asked for transportation, he said 35,000. Out of the 50,000 you receive, apart from deductions, that may, of course, also take place. He said, nah, this one has too much frustration. He spoke out. He was penalized for that, but then that is the reality. But ordinary politicians are the ones living large at the expense of including the military, the police, the first men. But what they could resort to is be collecting bribe, extorting people, impounding on the ordinary citizens, just to extort from them so that they can make up. Is the politicians are enjoying. Now we can't be suffering. So the masses should be suppressed. Now we send you to be soldier, I be army. I be Nami send you to be police. Now the masses send you to be police. What should you, force your anger, transferred aggression? They're not paying you. Am I the one paying in your? Am I in federal payroll? Are the masses responsible for your remunerations and the review of such? Even when the masses protested and bad governance, review the salaries of the servicemen, the same servicemen were used against the masses. So it's good for everybody. I would even employ no Nigerian, no masses should come and protest for any review. Let everybody suffer it. If they go get sense. But now, away from that, the issue is the first lady, with due respect, could not think how she could solve the problem of injustice, imbalance in the system, and unfair treatment method on certain persons because of their tribal alignments or religious affiliations. And what she could come up with is to come up with Ashebi as a way of uniting. How can Ashebi unite Nigeria? In the midst of this uncertainty, in the midst of this clear, sheer wickedness, hatred being expressed, this is no longer hidden. It is no longer the time that is being hidden, where they will be doing it underground. This is koro. Where is the place of justice? I have never seen in any society, in any sense society, in any advanced society, in any society, human society, where ordinary clothes, Ashebi, unites the differences, the ethnic nationality, the people, the indigenous people. I've never seen. Perhaps you might say, okay, that might be the beginning. Well, of course, I stand to be corrected. You have to prove to me, beyond reasonable doubt, that coming up with national Ashebi, even why it is very clear that nobody will buy into it. How can you? Well, of course, money has been voted to the office of the First Lady, and they have to run some programs in order to justify the amount of money that have been voted, several billions of that. Of course, you don't have to be redundant. You have to engage yourself, get your heads and advisors to advise you on what to do so that you can spend the money and see how to justify your spendings and you know what that means. You need evidence, of course, to show that you are working, and eventually, of course, whatever happens, other monies could be settled for other things. But then, let's see that we are working. If that money had been given to Chigos and Debo to distribute, there are people who are calling on daily basis. They want help. They need to eat. They are suffering. A woman said she didn't go to work because there is no transportation. The transportation hike has been increased. She would take 1,000 naira to and fro. That means she's very close. The proximity of her workplace to the place, of course, of her body is very close. Otherwise, 1,000 will not do anything, which means roughly 500 going, 500 coming. And they do the rest with trekking. Not that is enough. You have to trek. You have to trek some distance, cover some distance. Or once you get to the last bus stop, you can find your way to other places. Now, this is not the issue here. If those money has been voted, targeted to people who needed it, unfortunately, when most palliative is being dispersed, whatever dispersed or dispatched or shared among them, it does not get to those who needed it. And some will say, we have not received palliative. It's for the vulnerable. And the question is, who is not vulnerable in Nigeria today? No, answer me, who is not vulnerable? Me, my they vulnerable, but the now God they help us. Nobody is not vulnerable in Nigeria today. If you're in Nigeria, the level of vulnerability has levels, has stage. But you can't compare somebody who will hardly sip a gari to that vulnerability. No, 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 that one was. Now here they talk. But how do you get to them? On several occasions, I have appealed that people should sponsor us to embark on those. The little we can reach, you can't reach anybody. You can't reach everybody. You can't solve the problem of Nigeria. You go even kill you. So that's why I'm laughing at the politicians. They knew they can't solve Nigerian problem. They knew. Even the president, Ahmed Bola Tinubu, knew that he is not even there to solve your problem, let alone to buy yacht. He have accomplished his lifetime ambition to become the president, and he has the fleets of yachts, the the faster jets to jet away. If Okunaba, if everywhere is burning, he can leave you under 30 minutes. He will be in UK or in France. Or in less than 10 minutes or 15 minutes or 20 minutes, 30 minutes is too much. He will be in France, be relaxing now, John, or what is happening. What are they doing there? But humanity is passing through unimaginable suffering. The same lady who cannot transport herself to the place of work eventually have sacked herself. Okay, let me adjust some things here so that we can. Honestly, who tell you says anything they show here in Nigeria? Nothing they show, not even the light. Now she is complaining. What she needed to do is to find something to eat. Coming to the bus stop, coming to the streets to beg. Now you can imagine how many people. Of course, she had the boldness. She could not. I mean, she could sum up courage. Somebody coming to you say, "I beg, I needed something. I needed to eat." The person try you. Not everybody can sum up such courage. The person has that dignity, that ego. You have lowered it to the point that you know that this person is in their needs. So for some people who may turn down such persons, you may not understand. Maybe you have not been in that shoe. You may not. I don't expect you to be in that shoe anyway. But that is the reality. The self ego. Imagine I come say, I beg, I need to drink. I need to eat. Not just that I need to eat because I'm vulnerable. No, that's what I'm saying is people who don't have 1 naira, nothing, no, 1 naira cannot buy anything now. Not biscuits. If you're watching me, you can ask people. If you're in diaspora, just call people and ask them. Before 1 naira, 100 naira. I mean, not 1 naira, 100 naira. Before I can use 100 naira and eat rice. I can eat rice 20 naira. Put beans 5 naira. When I'm asking, when I'm saying this, is just about decades ago, after my youth service in 2010. Yes, 2010. When I came to Lagos, I said, okay, this 2010 or 11. Yes, 2010, 10, around November when we are discharged, of course, from the camp. 2010, you can use 20 naira to buy rice, ewa. You put ewa, ewa. Put ewa 5 naira. Meat na and get meat. I think meat is it 10 naira. I mean, with 50 naira, you just stock your stomach and leave. You're eating 100 naira. It means your stomach have to protrude. It's one as if you're pregnant, a man becoming pregnant. So we are voracious eaters, but I'm saying that you can manage yourself with 1,000 naira, 500 naira, just for a meal, but that is not possible now. So when you see somebody say, I beg, I want to eat, not just a beg, is the person is not a serial beggar, a chronic beggar. This person needed, you will see now when somebody is not faking it. I needed to eat. I have not eaten for 2 days. Now, the question is, how will these people survive? How will they survive? That is a fundamental issue. How do you expect these people to survive? No, for joke apart. Is it they are lazy? Some people will say they are lazy. What makes them lazy? Most of them are working harder than most of us, whom I call them lazy folks. But it's unfortunate that they found themselves within Nigeria. Now, that is the economic part. Such serious national dilemma has not been fully addressed. There is no commitment, there is no sincerity on addressing how do you put food, how do you make, food available to the masses. Some are complaining that moving commodities, farm produce from the farm to the targeted market or to the urban cities are very costly. You now increase fuel price. It means you want people to choke to death. Something that they are buying, a yam tuber that is being bought 7,000, 8,000 is now heading to 12, 15,000. Who will eat that one? Of course, me, I don't like yam self. Yes, now what do you want my talk? I don't like yam even from when my mama born me. I don't like yam. That is just it. So if they like, but they increase them, it doesn't mean that I don't eat yam. If the price is too exorbitant, I don't like them now. What has the first lady done atete with the president, my husband? What is happening? People are complaining. How do we solve the problem? The challenge is for us, between us. The glory or the shame will be upon us. How do we solve the problem? How do you encourage inflow of food to stabilize the price? These are areas that needed to be worked on, but eventually we have not seen any results. If such is being discussed, I don't know, but what we're asking for the results. Nigerians are hungry and haggard, suffering. Go to market and buy spaghetti, ordinary spaghetti. Spaghetti that you do buy two, two spaghetti. There was a time it was sold for two 35 naira. I mean, one 35 naira, two 17 naira. It gets to one 17 naira. From there, it's skyrocketed. It is now out of the roof. How do you solve this? These are urgent, nagging issues that have remained unaddressed, eating up people, families, see people taking their lives. What the first lady could think how to do is to come up with Ashebi clothes. People, whenever eat clothes, foods, whenever see money drink Gary, now them go see money buy Ashebi. People where they die, where they cost this country, every morning they wake up, tears will be running down their cheeks. Husbands, fathers who can't fend for the families. Nigerian citizens, fathers who don't know. Some of them, you see, heart attack, young men, young guys developing heart attack. See death here and there because when it becomes too much, they couldn't contend with it. It will choke them to death. Just as school fees is around, virtually every private school, you don't have to blame them because they are also running cost. The cost of books. An individual, just a primary school, when I told my children, when I spend this one you are buying a book, 95,000 for just primary school, 85,000. After subsidizing, I mean, some people even pay more than this. In my tertiary institution, did I spend more on to the in him now go before? What am I reading? 90,000 as an undergraduate in a year. Even though they chop the book, they tear them one by one, they eat. I never expended such. It's a primary school. Now, how many families can afford that? It's not even easy for the ZKs. These are issues of importance. Unfortunately, most Nigerian families, breadwinners, have lost their source of livelihood. They have lost their, they don't get work. Some companies have folded. In fact, they don't know what to do with their life. This should have been the priority. This has been a nagging issue of concern that will not allow the first lady to sleep. My husband, my dead husband, what do we do to fix this problem? All eyes on us. What she could think her with. I'm not insulting her opinion or position, but in the light of the current realities, we have to tell ourselves the truth. Is your maybe the person? Is the person running mad? You ask me to come and buy a Ashebi, national Ashebi for unity. Which kind unity? Where is the unity? Where I'm still thinking of how to buy Gary so that my children coming back will find something, even though to sip Gary. So when they say me that day I'm hungry, I say, nah, where Gary hung all there. Everything and management. But some people could not have that. Now, what do you expect them to do? That is why criminality, you see young people cutting people, beheading heads in the name of ritual. They want to make money because the pressure is too much. There is no factory to work. So what, how do you want them to survive? In as much as we don't encourage impunity, wickedness, atrocity. But if things are working, there is tendency that those people who are inclined to criminality might not even consider that as an alternative. If things are working, if the living standard is improved, if there is a workable system, people will rather engage themselves in more productive and dignified, of course, jobs, fend for themselves, hustle. But maybe Tiaka this one, Tiaka this one, and I was coming from Ikeja and I saw a patrol van, police, under the bridge, Ikeja today. I didn't know where they are coming, whether it's from area F or area whatever. They rounded the double cross, of course, those downfall drivers, the keke, tricycles. Though, of course, where they are parking, there is no park garage for them. They just stand by the roadside to pick their passengers. They were all rounded up. For those who were unfortunate not to have escaped, was trapped, and they have to pay heavily before such vehicles will be released, and their tricycles. Upon inquiry, I asked one of the tricycles, how much could these people be demanding for? Demanding from this tricycle. They said 300. I said 300,000. I said, told me, do you know how much keke is now? How much keke? Keke is not less than 3 million or 4 million, if whatever be the case. At worst, it's not less than 3 million. They will be demanding 300,000 from them. So, Wahala don't boss. People who are struggling to survive, people who are even some are higher purchase, what they call higher purchase. You have to run the day expenses, whatever, give the balance to the owner of the tricycle. If anything is left for you, good. If nothing is left for you, you go and sleep. Now, after those vehicles were impounded, you know what happens? And the worst thing you can do, experience you can have, is to be in a place, in a horrible situation like that, where you can tell a Nigerian police, I am sorry, Biko, I beg. May you never experience that. Let me stop there. There is suffering in the land. No empathy, either from the security operative, from the people within the corridor of power and their agents. I mean, what do you want the masses to do? And you want to unite Nigeria with Ashebi? You want to unite? You mean you say you want to unite Nigeria with Ashebi without addressing the hunger, the poverty, the insecurity, the ethnic and religious bigotry sentiments? You know that even you serve the ooze sentiments, hatred. You want people to see you that you are serious. But let's forget about that. This must be the joke of a century. Must be the joke of the century. You mean with what is happening? You want to unite Nigeria. My daughter was singing, was rehearsing the new national anthem. I don't know it. I don't intend to know it. Well, it's such Nigeria, we heard our dear native, their native Guinea. Unconsciously, I said it because I was thinking, how would they eat? Look at the rental bill, the school bill, fees. They do this in the same their native waiting. Remove that there because I'm going to know to get again. What do you mean? It's as bad as that. If there is any there, it must be expressed. Let them show us what there is there about Nigeria. Let them tell us what is there. Your dear native country. Which native country? How many Nigerians can boldly say, my dear native country? Americans wake up weeping, praying, God bless America. Because there are social security for them. The living standards, the working conditions, the rights of the citizens are being protected. I'm not saying there are no violence and there are no corruption there, but it's being controlled by system, minimized by the system. The system does not support the abuse of people's fundamental rights. You can't tell me you are poor in America that you can't afford to eat, to sip Gary. During Buhari time when there was a statistics, a certified, of course, statistics that 133 million Nigerians were living below poverty. 133 million Nigerians were living up in abject poverty. Then, during Buhari time, not now. It was published. 133. Now, if Nigerian population is estimated, not the actual population, is an estimate of 200,000. Now, if 133 million Nigerians are certified to be abjectly poor, below poverty line, out of 200 million, 133, what is left? No, do the 133, what is left? 67 million. So maybe you're not just equal with poverty. This 133 million is below poverty line. So maybe very just at the margin of poverty. Maybe another 40 million is at the margin of poverty. Another one is just a step away from the margin of poverty. Now, maybe 2% are the ones who are within the corridor of power, who are eating, of course, at the expense of the masses. Who are the politicians? Now, from that Buhari time to this, we already have maybe those people who are below poverty line are now third degree. You know, you get what you call the firstborn. I mean, in uh, in fire incidents, accidents, firstborn or skinborn, the third skinborn, the second skinborn, the third one. This one they reach to the bone on our. So Those people, 133 million Nigerians who were, of course, below poverty now, they have entered inside poverty and they have disappeared. In fact, you see them now, they are now poverty. Now, that time, and those who are at the margin of poverty, they have now entered below poverty, second degree. And those who are a step above poverty, they have now entered the first degree of below poverty line. What is the president? What is the governor? What is the politicians doing to remedy this situation? Unfortunately, the sad story is there's no solution. There's no solution. If you think there is, none has been provided. None is working. Unfortunately, very sadly, people are suffering the more. Yes, what do you think about these developments and what do you think was where Nigeria got it wrong? For me, of course, except there is equity, fairness, and justice, nothing else can unite Nigeria. And if there is absence of justice, equity, and fairness, then Nigeria is gone, like you believe it or not, supported by the position of the chief of army staff. Poverty was as a result of injustice. Injustice on the part of the political class or those within the corridor of power. Because if you can have food to eat and you do not make the same food available to your fellow citizens, you are the most wicked person. If you can have access to medical care, the set of the art facilities, you can travel abroad, access medical care, intensive medical care, and you do not make deliberate attempt to replicate that so that your own fellow citizens in your own country will also access the same, the death that will kill you. Not be this kind of death where people they die. That is the humanity in us. I think if you can eat salad, let people chop green now. If you can eat burger, let people eat cassava now. That is the state, the level of predicament Nigerians are in. We have governors, we have politicians who travel the world round, who see how systems are working, who see how government engage citizens. They come back, loot the common treasury, and cut away with them, leave the entire state in the state of vulnerability so that people will be singing their praises, clapping for them, calling them Ochiri Ozowa, Onwa Nabaro, Akekpuchi Onwa, the Jagaba. Who does that help? Why are Nigerians very wicked? People are dying because they can't even afford paracetamol. Paracetamol. It was paracetamol killed somebody. Nigerian citizen. Let alone malaria. Malaria na serious na monster now. How many people can afford anti-malaria drugs today? So people resort to abo and other distance. It's quite unfortunate. What does it take to fix all these things? What does it take to make the system work? These are things that can unite the nation. If there is equity, if there is fairness, the poverty that the chief of army staff cited, he said, except Nigeria solve the issue of poverty, unemployment. He is talking to the senators, the House of Representatives. If they care to know, the chief of army staff was directly addressing them that they are the problem of Nigeria. They sit on the common treasury, they sat on it, they cover it, they eat, and when others start, just imagine a serving Senate president will say Nigerians who are protesting for hunger should continue to protest while they eat. And you are eating, you are drinking, you are satisfied that your own population, the people you claim you're representing, are on the streets protesting, dying of hunger, and you say you can eat. You go ahead and eat. Well, thank you very much for being part of this discussion today. Of course, we can't continue because it is endless. We can't talk all the talks today. We can't solve all the problems. Unfortunately, we would have if we have the opportunity. But then we continue to talk, and of course, let those who care to know perhaps might borrow a leaf from our discussions and understand the impulse and how people feel about them. Some don't care, whatever they feel is up to them. Provided we have the cash, we have settled our families, we have looted so much that even at death, our families feel secure, even in the midst of the uncertainty in the country. Well, if they feel that is okay for them, well, let them go on with that. But it behoves on the people to chart a way forward for themselves. If they are tired of these sufferings and subjugations, they must rise to hold the government accountable. They are not above. They are not super citizens. They are not created to be, I mean, some super aliens sent here to subjugate and suppress people. They are just privileged. Every other person could have been, could have occupied such positions. But then, whatever happens, it is only what you have done that you will be remembered for. Even your posterity will either reap the goods or the bad you have sown. My people do say, Ade amacho wa ama. Owa, Ade amacha ya ama. You don't know tomorrow. Nobody knows tomorrow. There are people who have gathered the whole words, and still today their offspring never ate it. They're nowhere to be found. So why will you be so wicked, cruel to your fellow citizens? They give you money to do something that will benefit the society. You go and do some standard something, put the money in the pocket. Sometimes you go to church and give your tithe, and some gullible clergymen will accept and give you preference, treat you as a god, who God have rejected you and rejected everything about you. They will now bring you in, put you inside the back door, carry you, go to the Holy of Holies. You get communion. But we, where they talk the truth, now sensitize the masses, advocating for defense of humanity, will not be recognized. Even when we say hit the like buttons, and then I don't tell to sort my intelligent listeners. They know the people who these words are for. They know they don't deserve, unless you're one of them. Now, well, thank you so much once again. Bye for now until come your way. It's a puzzle to ponder. It's a question we must meditate upon. But for the certainty, the national Ashebi is just a misplacement of priority. It cannot solve the problem. It can't substitute justice. It can't substitute equity. It can't be a substitute for fairness, equal distribution. Let everybody be recognized, but unfortunately, it is too late. So, dabbling, grappling for whatever you think that could distract the people. People are no more wise and more advanced intelligence. They are thinking ahead. Of course, they understood whatever is playing out. You can't deceive the people. If you think you can, we're gone at the days. Thank you once again and bye for now. For now.